Welcome! My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And we are doing Junk Journal 101, Level 3. The first two levels are in the playlist linked below if you want to check those out. We're now on Level 3. And we've done 2 videos so far. We've done the introduction of the project, and then last time we made the cover and talked about coffee dye paper. So if you haven't watched those and you need to, check those out on the playlist below. This kit that I'm using for this project is called the Canadian Wildlife Kit, and it's over in my coffee shop. It's half price during the live part of this project, so January, February 2025, it'll be half price in my coffee shop. Each week I'll be giving you a freebie to coordinate with this. The freebie will be available for 1 week, and after that it will go into the coffee shop vault, I guess, storage place. And then at the end of the project, I'll compile all those freebies and put them into a little kit at the coffee shop that you can pick up if you miss any, or if you're watching this later or whatever. It'll just be a couple of dollars in the coffee shop as well. So the kit is just the papers, and then the add-on will be the extra ephemera that I'm giving you as freebies as we go along here. So today we're going to work on our signatures. So what I did is I compiled 3 signatures. We're going to put 3 signatures in here. We've only done, in our other past projects, we've only done 1 signature at a time, so this is a little bit, more another level up. So I've got 4 of these papers double-sided on each of these signatures. So I've just put them in a way that I like. This is what's going to kind of show. So I kind of have the images I like there. And so I folded all of these in half, and in between each one I've done a piece of coffee dyed paper. So I've got 4 of these, and I've got 3 of these. So I have 1 of these, and 1 of these, and 1 of these, and 1 of these, and I end with 1 of these decorative papers. So there's 7 papers in each one of these signatures. So I have 21 pages altogether. So 4 digitals, 3 coffee dyed in each signature times 3, 21 pages. And 21 pages, there's 4 sides on each page. So 1, 2, and then the other side 3, 4. So 21 times 4 is 84. So you got 84 pages to work with in the journal. So lots of space. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew these into our spine here. And we have these 3 places on our manila file folder that have are giving us this guideline for where we want to sew in our signatures, so that's great. And we're just going to make ourselves a template. And the reason that I do a template when I do more than 1 signature is I just want everything to kind of be the same. If you're just using 1 signature, then I don't usually do this. So I'm just going to cut this. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to make it kind of a manageable size. Maybe I'll do it 2 inches. And this is just a scrap of cardstock, and it's 8.5 inches tall. So that's how it comes. So it's the same height as the pages, a little bit shorter than the cover because we made our cover a little bit longer. So 8.5 by 2 inches, 1 inch, 1.5 inches, however you like, doesn't really matter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this in half. So I'm going to score it in at 1 inch. And you can keep this template and use it over and over again if you're making the same size journal. It works well for that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark right in the center because I want one of my holes in my signatures to be right in the center. So I'm going to line this up on my grid here, and half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. So I'm just going to mark 4 1/4 along the spine there. And then I think I will do 1 inch from each edge. So I'm just going to line it up again and mark it at 1 inch from this edge and 1 inch from this edge, like that. And then you can do this various ways. You can get a little hole punch if you want. This is just my tiny hole punch. Doesn't matter really. And where that line is, just kind of take a little bite out of it. You don't need the whole, hole. See how I just did a little bite out of it, but when you open it up, you got a nice size hole there. So if you don't have a hole punch, you can just poke it with the something pokey, which is what I often do. I'll just take what I'm going to use to poke the signatures and I'll just use that. But now I have a template of 3 evenly spaced holes. What I usually do is I'll mark the top with a T. Even though they're evenly spaced, there sometimes is a little wiggle room, and it sometimes is hard to make it fit if it's off a little bit. So I mark T for top. This is the top of the journal. So I'm just going to fold this up. I'm going to line it up on my first line here. I'm going to center it from top to bottom because there's a little bit of wiggle room here and here. And I'm going to line it up on my line, and I'm just going to make a mark there. So now I have a mark right there, right on the line, right there, right on the line, and right there on the line. Okay? And then you can just do it with the template, or you can just do it by hand after that. You can kind of eyeball straight across 3 dots, 1 on each line. One maybe went a little low. That doesn't matter. Okay, so we've got our 9 marks on there. And then to punch, I always use a phone book. I've used this same phone book for a long, long time. And I think I talked about, I'm not going to do the whole sewing in signatures because I did that in the other video for Junk Journal. It was probably the first level 1, sorry. But I also have a technique video in the Junk Journal 101 playlist. I'm going to do technique videos separately so that I don't have to repeat, the signature every single time. You can just refer to that same video. So look in the playlist for Junk Journal 101, linked below, and look for technique video for sewing in signatures. And after I show you the basics of this multi-signature one, you can go there and refer to the actual process. So here I'm just going to line this up on each one of my dots and poke. So you can see that that's poked 3 holes there. And here. And here. So now we have 9 holes poked in there. Okay, so you can put that aside for a minute. And then I'll take my signatures. So I usually do from front to back. I'll do the first signature, then the second, then the third one. You could do it back to front, whatever kind of seems easier for you. I think I will do like this. So this will be my first signature. So I've just got mine paper clipped together just to kind of keep them together. So I'm going to open it up to the center. I'm going to give it a good, what do you call that? Just sort of pat, I guess, on each side to make sure that it's nice and hook is coming apart in this spot, that one spot, because I've used it so much. So I'll just open it to a spot here, kind of tuck this into here, make sure it's straight from top to bottom, and then I'm going to line this up with the T at the top. This should be exactly the height of my page now. So I'm just going to line everything up and then force it into the crease, and then I'm going to punch holes through each one of the holes on the template. And just check and make sure you came out. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but this top one did not maybe come through enough. That's better. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there is a hole all the way through there. So that's my first signature. Actually, I guess I don't have to show you that 3 times. So you just repeat that on these 3, or these other 2. Then what you do is get your cover here, line up your signature on this first line, and then sew it in, and this is where you would refer to the video to sew it in. So you get your needle, you get your thread, you put it through here, and sew it right to the other side, back and forth, knot it in the center. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you can refer to that video. So sew in that signature, then take your second one, sew it on the next line into those 3 holes, get that one sewn in, and then put your last one here and sew that one into the 3rd line. Okay, so I'll be right back when I get that done, and you can refer to the video if you need to and get yours sewn in, and then come back and we're gonna work inside a little bit. I'm gonna have a freebie to show you, so don't forget to come back after you get your signature sewn in. See you in a second. Okay, I got my signatures all sewn in. So I have the first signature here. See it better from up here. And the second signature and the third signature. So 1, 2, 3. So those are all sewn in. I did not trim off the inside strings yet. I probably will. Sometimes I put some dangles on them, so I just leave them for a little bit, but I think these ones I'll probably just trim off, but that's why those are hanging there. So then I just wanted to show you that I made you a freebie. So this is over in the coffee shop for free for 1 week. So what this is today is 5 pockets. So there's 1, 2, 2 large square pockets, a smaller square pocket, and 2 angle pockets. So I'm just going to show you how I put mine into my book. So just trim them out first. So again, these freebies are available for 1 week in the coffee shop, and then after that I'll put them away to make room for the next one. And then if you wish to have them all together, or if you missed any, or you're watching this at a later time, then the whole group will eventually be over in the coffee shop, at least by the end of February, for a couple of dollars for the whole add-on kit. So this part is not going to include this kit, and the freebies do not include the pages. The pages is a kit available in the shop right now, which is called Canadian Wildlife, and it's on half price until the end of February. So if you want to grab that, this is the pages, and this will eventually be the add-on kit, but for now it's the freebies. Hopefully that makes sense. I think I'm confusing even myself. So I'm just going to trim these off here. Okay, so I got them all cut out. What I like to do after I cut out anything is just give it a little bit of ink. This time I don't put it down on the glass mat, I just do it like this because I just want a thin layer. Not sure if you can even really tell the difference. I guess you can. It just gives a little bit of a finished look, I think, around the edge. So I always do this. And particularly when there's these little, we call them thumb notches, or there's other names for them, but particularly in there, it's nice to have a little bit of ink. So. All right, so let's get our pockets put into our book. So we've got a large pocket, 2 angled pockets, and then this one. So I'm going to just put this one aside for a minute, and I'm going to put one of these, this one, or this one in each signature, just to kind of balance it. You don't have to do that, but sometimes I do that. This one starts with the same image, so I'll pick a different image for the first signature, and you can really do it anywhere. I might do it on more of a plain background, so I could do it there. I could do it on any of the coffee dyed papers. I actually kind of like it right there. So I'm just gonna get my wet glue and put glue on 3 sides. Just a thin bead of glue is good for a pocket. And this one I'm gonna put right near the bottom. I usually leave a tiny bit of a border, just because I think it looks better that way. So you can put it just a tiny bit away from the inside fold there, so that your book will still fold nicely. If you go right to the edge, sometimes it won't fold completely well. So there's our first signature. In our second signature, maybe I'll put the 2 double pockets. So these ones I can do 2 on 1 page, like this. If I wanted to, that would make a nice looking page. In fact, it would even look good on this one because it's kind of a plain looking page. Here's another one that would look good with the, I could do 2, or I could do 1 on each side. So just kind of auction it off on your different, I think I like it actually right there in that order. And I'm going to put both on 1 page. Keep in mind these are digitals, so you can print them off more than once if you like. I'll probably have some more pockets in the freebies, but if you like lots of pockets in your journal, you can always print these again. And if you put them on a different piece of different background, or eventually we're going to decorate a little bit, you know, on top of these, so they won't even look the same in the end. So glue that one. You can also glue it upside down. Well, this one probably wouldn't be upside, this one would work upside down, but if you wanted it upside down, and then you can put, you know, something kind of in there like that, a tuck inside like that. So that's another option. I'm not going to do that this time, but put it a little bit closer to here than to here, because I do want there to be some space to tuck something in. I don't want it really close up here, and then whatever you put in there has to be pretty shallow. So I'm just going to put it there. So that's our second signature. And then in our third signature, we will put this cute little deer. So we can put it somewhere like that. Even put it somewhere like that. I kind of like it there. Alright, just make sure it doesn't interfere with the folding of your book. And you can get it glued onto there. Depending on what kind of glue you use, I've mentioned that mine is a little bit slower drying, so I do spend a minute just sort of, not even a minute, just a couple of seconds, especially reinforcing these corners here. But if they pop up on you, you can just always add another dab of glue and then you're good. So the last pocket, you can just open up anywhere you want. You can put it at the bottom. You can put it towards the top, and then we can do something else at the bottom here. You can have, you know, a little bit of a stack of these. You could cut just out of another piece of paper. You can easily cut, you know, some more pockets like this and just make a stack of them that way. I'm going to do something a little bit different, just to show you something a little bit different. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper that is not directional, not obviously directional. And what that means is that for example, these are directional prints. So if I turned this sideways, it would look a little odd. I mean, you can still use it. Sometimes we do that intentionally, but the writing goes this way and the owl goes this way. So this I would call a landscape directional print. This one is a little bit less obvious, but there is a background music line in there. So if it was this way, I think it would still look okay, because it is sort of faded into the background, but it is a bit of a directional print as well. So I picked 3 that are, I think, more directional. They could go this way or this way, and it doesn't really matter at all. These ones don't really have, this one has trees at the bottom, but there's so much in the background that you don't, you know, it kind of just looks like a background image. This one does have some script in the back, but it's faded as well. And if you do it this way, the script is sideways, which is not that big of a deal. But I'm going to use this one. So if you want to follow along, just print one of the pages that you would like, that you're okay with it being in a portrait. This is portrait orientation, this is landscape orientation. So I'm going to put it in portrait orientation. I'm just going to put it upside down. I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm just using my scoring board because that's how I fold things in half most of the time. Just because I use the guide on the side just to get a nice good fold on the edge there. So I'm just going to reinforce that fold and then grab this again. Okay, so then I just want to put this up against my scoring board, and I want to score it at 4.5 inches and at 9.5 inches. 4.5 and 9.5. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold on those 2 folds. Fold the bottom, the bigger one up and the smaller one down. And then we have a little bit of a pouch like that. What you can do is you can glue this paper together, which I am going to do with my glue stick. So you really just need to glue half of it, because we're going to be folding it over. Sometimes I use this just to get it nice and smooth. If you have a brayer of this sort, it's kind of helpful. And then it's probably best just to let that dry for a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to let it dry and I'll be right back. Okay, so I let it dry for a minute and then I folded it on those folds again and just reinforced them. And see, now we have a really crisp line here. I didn't even have to trim that off. And then the other thing I did is I decided I was going to sew this. And this is definitely optional, but if you have a sewing machine and you like using it for paper, or you've never tried it but want to try it, you can try it. So I just sewed across there for now with just a straight stitch. Then I'm going to use, this is called a corner rounder. There's different kinds of little punches and stuff that you can round corners. Again, you don't need this, but if you have one, you can choose to round these top corners. This is going to be our little flap here. And then what I'm going to do is ink again. And I'm going to ink here on the flap. I'm going to close the flap and ink here. And this particular one is going to be, I'm going to glue it right into my book. So I don't need to ink the back. But I do want to ink all of this front here, including that part so you can see here, that's all inked. And then because you're going to see this inside part just at the top, I'm going to ink that as well. Just the parts where you can see. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Got both sides of that. So this is what it's going to look like on our page, and this will fold down like this. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch, and I'm going to stitch all the way around this whole thing with it folded. I'll fold this up, and I'm going to stitch all the way around here, and that will make my pouch. If you don't want to stitch or you don't have a sewing machine, all you need to do is put a bead of glue here, well, inside. Open this up and put a bead of glue here and here, and fold it up, and there you have your pouch. But I'm just going to sew mine, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I've stitched all the way around there, and then I'm going to ink again over top of that stitching just a little bit. That's just a matter of preference if you want to do that or not. Just showing you a little bit, you know, more of a, I guess, an advanced technique. If you don't want to do this on yours, you can just glue that pocket on, this small pocket on, just straight onto your page. But what we're going to do is we're going to glue this pocket onto here. Actually, I could have put it on first and then sewn, which I probably should have done, but I did not. This pocket is just, depending on how you fold and whatever, this pocket is just a tiny smidge wider. So I'm going to glue this on now, because I would have sewn it on if I would have thought about it before. So if you haven't done it and you're sewing, you can put your pocket on first. Sometimes I find it hard to think when I'm videoing and trying to show you something at the same time and trying to do something for the first time. I haven't really thought this through exactly. Sometimes that's the fun part, is just sort of kind of doing things as you go. A lot of times I'll just have a little scrap of paper left from something, and I'll think, how can I turn this into a pocket or something interesting in my journal? So that's what I'm kind of doing here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the back here. So after I put glue on the back, then I can cut off these tails because they'll be secure by the glue. This one will not, that one doesn't go through to the back. So this one I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the front, and then I'll let that dry. But I'm going to put it in my book first and show you what that looks like. So you can find a page wherever you like. Just stick it in my middle signature just because. So here's a page, actually, that's the same page, I think. Close anyway. So that looks kind of nice on that page. I could put it on the opposite page, which kind of mirrors that. So maybe I'll do that. And then what I'm going to do to glue this on is I'm going to not glue it on the top. I'm just going to glue it on these three sides, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm just going to glue on the two sides, making sure I got a nice gob of glue on the stitches there, especially where it's tied off at the bottom. And then I'm going to put this on. I'm going to kind of put it towards the bottom, but not quite at the bottom like I've been doing. I'm just going to let that dry for a minute, so just be right back for now. And then because we just glued on those three sides underneath, we can also put something behind here. And we're going to make some tags and stuff, but I just had, these are from my Labels Galore kit that I have in my shop, and I use these, if you haven't seen these before, it's just all kinds of faith labels in all kinds of colors, sizes, shapes, and they just all have faith words on them. So His mercies are new every morning. So I can just tuck that in there. I can put other things in there as well because there'll be lots of spaces, and you can make something, you know, like a tall tag in there as well. And then if you put something, you can put something in here. And then if you close this flap, then you can use this or a tag or something to keep your flap closed. So you've got this space, you've got this space, and you've got this space. So from that one piece of paper plus an extra pocket, we've got a whole bunch of different places to put things in our journal. So this is what kind of makes it interesting. So I'm just going to take those out for a minute, and what I'm going to do is just put a dot of glue on the top where those threads are stitched. I don't backstitch on paper. Some people do. I haven't found that to be productive for me because it just makes the holes kind of bigger. It works fine on fabric, but so I'm just going to let that dry, and when that dries I will snip off the ends of those threads as well. And then that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you pick up your freebie pockets and get them into your book wherever you like them. Make this special pocket if you want to try that. And have fun and blessings. We'll see you in about a week.